Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Picked Off Podcast. I am your host, Braden Neal, alongside my co host over Zoom, Jake Keating. Today, we're going to discuss all of the happenings around NCAA baseball, and that being the NCAA tournament, our most favorite time of year, a bunch of regional upsets, and just a whole lot more. But before we get into it, Jake, tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, well, if you missed the last podcast, you can find it under this one. And then as far as social media goes, you can find us on X and Instagram at Picked Off Media.
Right, so technical difficulties here. As you can see, I've got a new setup. We're now
We just hopped
officially
right into it this time, huh?
We did. Literally, I didn't give Jake any warning. We just
You're
went
just like, all
straight
right, let's
into it.
go. All right, I'm fine with that.
Um, that's kind of how we're going to do it today. It's going to be kind of raw and uncut. It's the postseason. Really fun time, but a lot of thoughts on many different things. And this is going to be a long episode, so hell, why not? Let's just jump straight into it. And
Um,
now you
I
can
mean,
find
I
every
think.
episode. Hold on,
Go ahead,
real
go
quick.
ahead.
Now you can find every episode on YouTube as well. So please follow us on YouTube if you want to see the video version. Hopefully, more content on my end to come from this. Um, And you can also, like I said, remember to leave a 5-star review. I think Jake may have said that or not, but remember to leave a 5-star review
I don't think
on
I ever
Spotify and
remember to
Apple.
say that.
But yes, please do that. Okay. So go ahead, Jake. I'm going to let you start it off.
Well, I don't really know how to start off other than to say that this is the weirdest regional I think I've ever experienced. And I haven't been watching a ton of, I haven't watched college baseball for 10 years, but within the past 4 years, there hasn't been this many upsets. This is it just seems kind of crazy right now.
It very much is. This has been the most insane regional. I have been watching college baseball for 10 years, and this is the most insane, at least tournament so far I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, how many
So
tournaments are the top two seeds, knocked out in within 3 games? That's pretty crazy, you
again,
know.
this is a little impromptu today, but something I'm gonna do. So Jake and I, and Coach Hargett, who we had on this last podcast, and my father as well. I don't know, maybe Jake might have missed it, but we created brackets for the
Oh, I may
NCAA
have
tournament
forgot to do that.
and did them the whole way through. Let's just go and see how wrong these are before we get into it. And we're actually
Are you
going
going to
to,
screen share? Are you
if
going to screen share and show your bracket?
yes, and as we talk about these brackets, we'll just talk about the regional as we go. Um, So let's see. Share. Let's see, can you see Google Chrome?
Give me 1 second. Yes, I can.
Perfect. Uh-huh. Baseball. Excuse me, one hand.
I'm trying to find like a list of all the scores and like who advanced from where. I know who advanced from where, but I want it just like laid out perfectly so I can just show it.
Oh, it wants the email address.
Let's see.
Shoot.
Oh, brackets. Maybe that'll. Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is weird.
Let's see. So view my. Let's see. We're gonna click on Picked Off Podcast, the group here, and we're going to get the Big Daddy Four. That would be my dad, and then me. So let's click on the brackets here. And we're going to talk about the regionals as we
Wait,
go.
hold up. What did it say your dad's rank was? It was like 600. Go
Um,
back real quick. Go back. He's ranked
not
900. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
975 over the whole thing. Not bad. I am
Huh.
not doing so well at 6,383.
How many people fill out these brackets? I wonder how many there are.
Quite a lot actually. Um,
Nothing like March Madness, but it's probably
so
still.
let's see. So here we go. So for the Nashville Regional, I picked Vandy, and with the runner-up being Louisville. Let's see the result on that. Well, Louisville won it, and Wright State was the runner-up, eliminating Vanderbilt. What is happening? So Jake, if you don't mind, can you pull up the scores from these games,
Yeah,
please?
give me a second.
So So Wright State beats Vandy. Vandy would lose to Louisville on Saturday night, I believe, and then would then lose to Wright State on Sunday to eliminate them from postseason contention. And Louisville would go on to beat the Wright State Wolves, I believe, is their name.
Yeah.
Um,
So, the first game, right, or Vanderbilt beat Wright State 4-3. I believe they came back, right?
Correct.
And Louisville beat ETSU, and then Vanderbilt played Louisville, and Louisville beat them. That was a really good game. They beat them 3-2, and so the Vanderbilt then went to the elimination bracket, and I was thinking they were just going to run right through this elimination bracket, and that whole, Wright State game was just a fluke, but they end up playing Wright State again, and I believe they were down 5-1 until the ninth. And I didn't watch the ninth inning, but Vanderbilt came back almost all the way, but they still ended up losing 5-4. And then Louisville played Wright State in the championship and won 6-0. So it was. Did you watch that game? The 5-4. Uh,
The Louisville game.
no, the Wright State Vanderbilt game.
I did not, as I was in Oxford at the time, so I did not
Hmm.
see that. That was the doubleheader that day with Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. We'll get into Ole Miss in a minute. So then we had the Hattiesburg regional. These are the results. So let's see. The Hattiesburg regional. I had Alabama winning, with the runner-up being Southern Miss. The picks are the actual results. Nowhere near it. Would be Miami, the 3 seed, beating Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. Southern Miss would eliminate Alabama, and then after losing to Columbia on opening night, um, then Miami would win. I believe that, and then Southern would eliminate Bama in an elimination game, and then I believe it went to Game 7.
It
And
did. Yep.
so my so Southern had to beat Miami twice. Southern beat Miami, and then come up just short against the Hurricanes last night for the
Yeah,
three
it
seed
was
Miami
5-4.
Hurricanes to win the whole tournament. And then so going back to my picks, which was a really good regional by the way, and obviously Southern just didn't have the pitching depth. They had Middleton, but then once you get past him, they really didn't have anybody else. But what a run this year for the Golden Eagles. Um, and then let's get to Tallahassee. So I had Florida State winning this. I actually think I was correct on this. I had Florida
Where?
State winning, and
Ooh,
Mississippi State is the runner-up. And
that
the
was correct.
results. Yes, so for once, I actually got a result correct there. Florida State
Florida
just
State's
outlasted
good, man. They're looking
the
good.
Mississippi State Bulldogs, and Mississippi State has a new head baseball coach, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, really good outing in Florida State. Wes Mendez was tremendous, sort of renewing an old rivalry there, the Ole Miss transfer. So
Mhm.
it was some really good games. Mississippi State falling just short, and to be honest, what was a really good regional besides Bethune Cookman. I mean, Northeastern was like one of the best offenses in the country, one of the best teams in the country. They were like 40-9. And I get it's,
Really?
whatever conference they're in, but they were insane.
Oh, I do remember seeing that. They might have had 50 wins, or they had like 40. I think they had the most wins in the country, or something like that. Um, but yeah, that was a real good one. Did that one draw? Hold on, I'll see if that one drew a game 7. I believe
One
it
second,
did,
one
right?
second.
No, it didn't. It didn't. But Florida State did beat Mississippi State twice.
Yeah, I mean, so that they took them to the limit, but Florida State would win that, and then let's see if I got the Corvallis regional correct. I believe I did. would be Oregon State and USC. Oregon State would
Yep.
pick up the win there. And I had nope, I had
Wow.
TCU. Did I have TCU winning it? Yes, I did. I had TCU winning it. That did not happen. Oregon State won in the
Oregon State
runner-up.
lost their first game
Er,
too. They lost to St. Mary's in their first game.
correct. That was St. Mary's first ever win in the postseason.
That's funny. Um, wow. Okay, so that's is that the only team to lose their first game and then win the regional this year? I guess we'll go through it. I know. But yeah,
I
that's
know this
impressive. There's
necessarily
almost
isn't
Ole
making
Miss
for
too.
good pod right now, but I'm trying. So yeah, that was that was something. Um, yeah, I didn't think Oregon State, to be honest, was that good. I thought they were quite overrated, but they beat what, in my estimation, is a good USC team, and they get out of that regional alive and they advance.
Yep. Um, Chapel Hill next. That one I
Yes,
think
and
is. Did you have North Carolina winning that?
I did, and Oklahoma's a runner-up, so I got that correct.
I think North Carolina has a chance to. I think we'll talk about that later, but I really think they're going to make a far run.
I agree. You kind of saw with Oklahoma, and I thought Oklahoma could have easily won it. Actually, originally, while I was making the bracket, I had Oklahoma winning it the first time, and then I went back and I was like, you know what? No, I don't think they are. And North Carolina just outlasted them, but Kyson Witherspoon did a really good job against North. Well, they got him for 6 earned runs, which where they were all on errors. It was quite insane, but once they got past Witherspoon, it was pretty much it. And North Carolina dominates them in the last game yesterday to send them to. I guess they'll be playing a super regional in Chapel Hill.
Oh,
So, and then the Eugene regional.
this one,
Oh boy,
this cracks me up, man.
that was my
Talk
pick.
about talk about overrated.
My
Oregon
pick
is
was
overrated.
Oregon to win and the runner up to be Arizona. Let's see how wrong I was.
Arizona just steamrolled through this, man.
Arizona wins and your runner up is Cal Poly. Cal Poly. Let me say it one more time. Arizona won this regional and your runner up was Cal Poly.
Arizona did not have to play Oregon in that regional.
No.
They did not have to play them. Oregon loses to Utah Valley 6-5 in the first game,
If you're
and
watching this on
then
YouTube, I
they
hope you
lose
can
to
see
Cal
my
Poly.
face reaction. Oregon did not have to play the team that won it. Cal Poly eliminated Oregon. Cal Poly eliminated Oregon. One more time, I know you might have. This is not a mistake. Spotify's not screwing up. Apple Podcasts is not screwing up. I am still speaking English. Cal Poly beat Oregon. What is happening?
I was talking. No, Oregon's just overrated. They were
I think
overrated.
so, but again, the only reason Oregon actually brought their baseball program back was because Oregon State won a national championship. The
Is that
last
true?
time yes, that's true. The last time Oregon has been to Omaha was 1950, and they're not going this year.
Nope.
They lost to Cal Poly.
They have consistently good teams that are good, but they are very overrated by the committee because they don't, they have a
I
great
get
record
it's a
every year,
cool.
but they're not playing.
They're playing
They're
in the
not really
Big Ten.
playing anyone.
They're playing in
Yeah.
the Big Ten, which you've got some decent teams now because the Pac-12, but the Big Ten's always been terrible. They lost to Cal Poly. I repeat, the team that hosted Arizona beat Cal Poly to win that regional. In a regional that had Utah Valley in there as well. Um, I, no words. My headphones are dying. Woo. So let's look at this one. So the Conway Regional. I don't know if I want to say this. You know what? We're gonna come back
I
to
know you're
this
going
one
to talk about.
because no. We're gonna come back to this one because I'm gonna go on a big rant.
Yeah.
Um,
Auburn
so
Regional. That one's pretty
Auburn Regional.
self-explanatory. That They
Auburn
kind of
won.
steamrolled through that one.
I think I got that one correct. Let me make sure.
I would hope
Auburn.
Auburn's
I
a
had
four
NC State
seed.
as a runner up.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that correct. And but did I actually get that? No, that's results. Hold on, let me. And then so yeah, there's nothing to say there. Obviously, Auburn won that one. Auburn looking pretty good, so I'm pretty high on the Tigers as we go into the postseason. They get a really good draw too, I believe, in a super against UCLA. I think this one they can win. They'll be hosting a super regional there in what's the name of that park? Shoot, Plainsman Park in Auburn. Really good coaching job this season from Butch Thompson. A great
Yeah,
coach.
they've broken out big time.
They have. And I think they can make a run in Omaha this year.
I think so, huh?
I could easily see that. So Auburn won that regional, and I was correct on that with NC State being the runner-up. There's really not much to say.
Were
Auburn looked really good, and yeah.
were you correct
Um,
on the Austin regional? I don't think anyone was.
so I actually this we're second guessing. A lesson for people listening: don't ever second guess yourself. Believe it or not, people are going to say I'm lying. I actually had UTSA winning the first time. But I was like, nah, I think Texas can get this one. But well, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that Texas was hurt, and they were most definitely hurt as UTSA beat the Longhorns to advance to a super regional. The first time the number one and number two seeds have lost in a regional play since the new format started, probably even before then.
That's
This
just
is wild. Welcome to college baseball in the postseason. For all you people in football that love your group of five and you're like, oh, we need to put these people in, and even though it's not going to be competitive and be a game, I actually think your sport needs to be baseball because in baseball you're going to get these things happening, and it's a shock, but it's not that much of a shock.
yep.
Texas was very beat up, and the Roadrunners, who had been really good all season, they showed up to play, and that was that.
Is it University of Texas, San Antonio?
Antonio, yes.
Yeah,
So it's a regional campus for Texas.
yeah. They got beat
Um,
by the little brother.
the I don't even know what I had for this one. I don't because I don't know anything about these teams. I had
UCLA.
UCLA
Yeah.
and UC Irvine. UCLA won that. I can't tell you much. Um, we're gonna save the Oxford Regional for last. We're gonna go to Baton Rouge. So I had Dallas Baptist winning this and LSU winning this. Or I had Dallas Baptist being the runner-up and LSU. But no, the Little Rock Trojans came to play,
And forced a
and
game seven too. That's
who had
insane.
upset Ole Miss early on in the year, and everyone was talking about how bad of a loss that was, and we thought it was pretty bad at the time. But oh no, the Little Rock Trojans, they showed up to play, including having a lead in the sixth inning last night before LSU would take a one-run lead in the seventh or in the eighth, and then Jared Jones, the Bear, would hit a mammoth home run to put the Tigers up 9-6. I think they would score one more, and that or no, sorry, 10-6, and that would pretty much be it there for the Trojans. But a really hard-fought effort there from the Tigers. They just could, or from the Trojans, they just could not escape Alex Box and the Death Valley of college baseball.
Yep. Clemson
Um,
Regional. How about that?
oh boy, give me one. Jake, why don't you talk about the Clemson Regional here for just 1 second? Give me
Well,
one
I
second to
was
adjust.
pretty high on Clemson, but in the ACC tournament, they got beat real bad by North Carolina, and I saw kind of the holes in Clemson's game. Their defense was, struggling a little bit, and I think it really showed here um, against Kentucky. I mean, you see, they got beat real bad by Kentucky, and I believe Kentucky was a three seed, which is a hell of a three seed. And this is a pretty tough regional, I'd say. But I thought Clemson was getting out of there easily, and if not Clemson, I thought it would be Kentucky. So I don't really have any words for this one.
I have some words for this one. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, just kicked your tail. Da ba da ba ba da. Okay, sorry you had to hear that. The West Virginia Mountaineers, Country Roads Take Me Home. And the runner up for this regional, who is the runner up, Jake?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Um, So Clemson gets eliminated by was it what it was West Virginia. Clemson got eliminated by West Virginia.
No, they got eliminated by Kentucky.
That is right. Yes, they got
They
eliminated by
got beaten
Kentucky.
real bad by Kentucky. They got beat 16-4.
Boy, not a great week for Eric Backage and crew.
Hmm.
Um, so Kentucky showed up to play. They showed up with a chip on their shoulder, and but ultimately, the West Virginia Mountaineers, the two seed in this regional, gets the win over Kentucky to advance to what I believe is a super regional in Morgantown.
West Virginia? No, they're
Ye
going to LSU. They're going to Baton
no, no,
Rouge.
no. That is correct. Excuse me. So congratulations on winning the Clemson Regional. Congratulations going in there and beating a
What
really good
conference are
team
they
and
in?
beating Kentucky. They're in the Big 12.
Big
Congratulations
12?
on doing that. Hey, here's your reward. You get to go into Alex Box Stadium in a
Yeah.
super regional with those LSU fans on top of you, all of them drunk. I won't say all of them. I won't put that on all of you. Most of them drunk, and you get to hear that environment. So have fun.
Yep.
Then Knoxville Regional, Tennessee won, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The goats.
so you
Repeat.
want to talk about that,
Repeat
Jake?
time.
You want to talk about that, Jake?
I
I'm
mean,
sure
it
you've
was a little
watched it.
scary. Wake Forest showed that they're still a very good ACC team, um, and forced a game. I mean, there were a few. I think the teams that punched their ticket were Auburn and Arkansas, and then I think like Tennessee, Ole Miss, and like three of those SEC teams were in a game seven where if all of them lost, there wouldn't be very much SEC representation in the super regionals. But Tennessee pulled through. I'm a little bit, I don't know. I don't see them going all the way. And we can talk about that later. But
I
I think
don't
they're
see
a
them
very good
going
team
all the
that
way
they
either.
that will make. I think they can make it to Omaha. They got a really tough super regional, the toughest super regional. Um, but you know, I don't know. Even if they do make it to Omaha and knock out Arkansas, I really think a team like North Carolina or LSU, has a better chance against them. But
Again,
we can get into that later.
I'm not super high on Tennessee's pitching, or even maybe I'm not going to say I'm not high on the offense, but
It's their
again,
defense.
playing in Charles Schwab is a bit different from playing in Knoxville, to say the least. But they,
Well,
Cincinnati was also came to play. They had probably a guy who is a runner for the Golden Spikes. Can't think of his name. He hit over 400. But Tennessee pulls that one out. Liam Doyle coming in the championship game in the seventh inning to in a game seven to secure the win for the Balls. He came out and it was absolutely electric. I believe he hit 101, 102 on the gun. Um,
really,
yes, MLB put him on there this morning. It's on their official Twitter account. It's all over the place. Of course, Pitching
hmm,
Ninja put it everywhere. But yeah, the Volunteers are headed to a super regional, and you know who they're headed to face, Jake?
the toughest team left.
The
I think the
Bash.
best team in the nation. Um,
Yes, they're
the
headed to face,
Arkansas
more importantly,
Razorbacks.
the Bash Brothers, as the Alloy twins believe went off in the super regional, and they're destined to go off in the super regional. Could this be the year, Jake, that they finally get the monkey off their back, or the proverbial, let's call it drop pop up off their back and into their
They are the
glove?
best. They're the best team in the country. Even being a three seed, like they are the best team in the country. Not just to the teams left, just in general. They were always the best team. So as long as they don't pull in Arkansas, they have everything they need to win. They're hosting the Super. You know, I don't see how this team doesn't at least make it to the championship. I don't know, but
So, but Arkansas has been known to let's say do in Arkansas. Do in
Yeah.
Arkansas. I mean, that's what they do. They choke. I mean, I hate that word, but I mean they do. The pressure has gotten to them, and they've dropped some pop ups, and they're literally one out away with in game two of the 2019 World Series. They lose that one after dropping a pop up that goes in and out of the glove in foul territory. I'd just like to remind Arkansas fans of that. It brings me joy. But they dropped that, and then of course Allie Rutschman and the boys would then win that game and then win the next game to send Arkansas home. Dave Van Horn, who all jokes aside is a really great coach and probably one of the best coaches ever. He really that this might be their year. The 2022 they ran into a buzzsaw of an Ole Miss team
Mm.
who nobody was going to beat them that year. Of course, you had the bad luck, like we talked about, 19th. That 22 team, Dylan DeLucia, nobody was beating them. And if Ole Miss doesn't win that year, Arkansas wins that. But unfortunately, it didn't
Yep.
happen. The year of Kevin Kopps and that unbelievable 2021 team come up short in a super regional, a game three, which some argue they should have won by NC State, knocked them out there. So, it's really been a story of ups and downs there for Dave Van Horn, but this could be the year for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, again, I don't see how. I would love to see an Arkansas versus North Carolina, um, championship. I think those are the two best teams left, you know. Um, but we'll see. We'll just see how it plays out. I can't wait to watch this Arkansas Tennessee Super Regional. I mean, they've already played
It's
each other in a series. They had an incredible, very close series that I believe Arkansas took 2 out of 3. Um, but I can't wait.
it's going to be something, that is for sure.
Hmm.
Um, but with all that being said, so let's go first to Athens Regional. And Duke won it. They upset Georgia. They would end up beating Oklahoma State in the championship. Um, Duke came ready to play. They have a really good offense. Some of the best hitters in the country. Early on in the year, we talked about Duke. They were ranked highly, struggled
They were
early
ranked like
on.
9 preseason.
Correct. Struggled early on. Had just was a really down year for the Dukes there. Um, the Blue Devils. But they would win this regional, beating Oklahoma State after Georgia was upset. Um, but that's not really the thing I want to talk about. So there was an incident in this game. It's been well publicized. So Duke and Oklahoma State are playing in the championship final. Duke has a celebration where a guy who makes a big play, they give him like a hard hat, like a worker's hard hat, right? And they they score off a single from first. Um, so I believe in the guy who hit it, Ryan Garciara, I believe is his name. Um, and he scores from first or he hits it in, and then the next batter they hit a home run. And not taunting anybody, not doing anything after they hit the home run. He comes up still wearing the hard hat, comes to the top step of the dugout, not even outside, to celebrate with his teammates. The umpire turns around and throws their best hitter out of the game for improper equipment and taunting. He now not only missed the rest of that game, but is going to miss the Super Regional, the first game of the biggest series of his life, for something that is insanely idiotic by an insanely idiotic umpiring crew. The
Can they not
NCAA,
appeal anything like that? Can they not appeal it
no.
to like the
I
board?
mean, you can appeal it, but they're not going to do anything. And the NCAA got called out for this stupid rule. What a disgrace for your national tournament. What a disgrace to college baseball. And their head coach after the game said the exact same thing. And he said he didn't care if he get fined. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. What a ridiculous show. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, unbelievable. That is, you eject a guy for just celebrating. He's not taunting and improper equipment. He's wearing a home run celebration. He's not even out of the dugout.
Mhm.
How ridiculous. What a disgrace. Congratulations to Duke. That just really makes me mad. Really. Speaking of
I
things that
think
make
this
me mad,
regional was about, I don't know. Would you say it's about as weird as the Oxford regional, or
I don't think
do you
anything
think?
beats the Oxford Regional. And I'm saving the Oxford Regional for last because I have a lot of things to say.
I'm sure you do.
Um,
All right, we'll do that then. Oh,
so,
you skipped over the Florida. What was it? The
yes, I
Conway regional?
did. So,
Yeah.
let's back up. So, Coastal Carolina would then defeat East Carolina as the runner up there. Cliff Godwin's team made a run, but unfortunately come up just short with the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina running away with that one, I would say easily. I think they won it in 3 games.
Yeah, they
Um,
won the final game against East Carolina 1-0. I didn't watch that game, but it's a
that's
close
the
one.
perfect score.
I don't know. Who
Um,
knows?
Whatever. So, but that's not why we're here. So, long time listeners of this podcast, you'll know that a few episodes ago, really early on in our series, probably the third or fourth episode, Ole Miss played Florida in the series, and I talked about how much of a. Let's see, I'm going to try to keep this PG. I don't want to put an explicit tag on this. How much of a not good person, not a great person that Kevin O'Sullivan was. And boy, was that evident this weekend. Coastal Carolina wins this tournament, or they beat Florida.
Coastal
Afterwards,
Carolina didn't play Florida.
no, sorry, they win the tournament. Then that was winning the tournament. Sorry. Again, it's been a long weekend. We'll get to why it's been a long weekend for me. Um, so Coastal Carolina wins this tournament, and he talked about it as the last piece. This might have been before their last game. So he did not name him, but you knew who it was because he's the only coach in the tournament to win a World Series, and he's got a World Series winning coach. Um, Either this week or sometime previous, Coastal Carolina's associate athletic director has passed away. Really tough time for the Coastal Carolina athletics department, Coastal Carolina University, the baseball team, and all involved. Um, and O'Sullivan didn't have a great reputation, but people still look up to him as a national championship winning coach. And the coach for Coastal Carolina, whose name is escaping me as usual, is talked about how he was insanely disrespectful to grounds crew, to site reps. Site reps, if you don't know, the NCAA takes over. This is why it's called the Conway Regional and not the Coastal Carolina Regional. It's kind of a neutral site thing. So they take it over, but you
Hmm.
have site reps for the university. He was insanely rude to them, felt like he could bully them and push them around. He was rude to the grounds crew, anybody that worked there, felt that he could bully his way around, rude to players, coaches, all involved, extremely arrogant, and they got put out. And you know what? Good for them. Because that sort of attitude is reflects not only really poorly on your program and you, but just on baseball as a whole. And that just shows that this sport, karma can bite you really quickly, and I'm so glad it did. Because this has been a problem for years. I've experienced it personally, not with him, but I know people who have. Um, he is not a great human being, and there's no reason to act like that on a baseball field, especially to people who have nothing to do with the game, who are there actually helping you out and helping your team have a great time at this regional and experience something. The people that keep these things running, that way you can make a paycheck that you do. You arrogant scumbag. He should be ashamed. You're a Hall of Fame winning baseball coach. You want to go do stuff like that? Congrats. All the props in the world to Coach Carolina's head coach for calling him out on that. He deserves it. And if I'm Scott Strickland, Florida's AD, I know but I take a good long look at the program and the culture that he is cultivating. Because from what I see, it's not a very good one. And you may be bringing in recruits, but those recruits are not having a great time, I would say. And if you start looking at the transfer portal, I think that might be evident. So anybody looking to get in the transfer portal, I would look at this press conference and look at other people and talk to other people because it's out there. Take a good long look at where you're going. Take a good long look at this man and see, is that the kind of coach that I really want to play for? All right, that's my rant.
Yeah, I don't know the situation, so I don't have an opinion on it. But I did
Uh,
see the press conference, and he was, the coach. Yeah, I think he did a good job standing up for those people who don't have the voice to be on that. You know, like they don't have the opportunity to speak for themselves or speak against Kevin O'Sullivan on a press conference, but he did it for him. So I respect that a lot, and I respect Coastal Carolina as a whole now a lot more. And I believe they're matched up against Auburn, right?
yes, and I think Auburn could win that. That's going to be a good Super Regionals because Carolina team is
I think it'll be
very
really
good.
good. Yeah,
We're going to see some
um,
really good baseball in that one.
for sure. You want to go to Oxford
So
Regional? You might have another rant for that one.
I don't. Again, we didn't discuss things ahead of time for the show that I meant to, but I don't have a
That's so
rant.
good.
It's not going to be an angry rant. So Ole Miss loses to four seed Murray State, a very good baseball team.
It's one of the better
A
four
team that
seeds.
this was one of the better regionals in the country. If you love offense, this regional was for you. This was the only regional with three 40 win teams, I believe. Three other
Really?
40 win teams. Yes.
Oh,
Um, and Ole Miss would lose to Murray State on Friday night, coming up just short of a comeback. Murray State scored a lot. Ole Miss would then have to go to the losers bracket. They would beat Georgia Tech after Murray State defeated them to get into the winners bracket, the championship, in an insane game with a lot of runs scored. And then Ole Miss would beat Western Kentucky pretty handedly. Then they would have a really close 11-9 game versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to advance. They would have to beat Murray State twice. Um, and something to be said here, and Jake, I know you haven't gotten to experience this yet. The whole regional, this atmosphere was insane. It was some of the best I've seen in college baseball. Um, it was I mean, the building was shaking at times. One of those moments, Ole Miss had a really big inning in the game six versus Murray State to force a game seven. There was a wild pitch and a score at home by Luke Hill. Um, there
dude, I turned
was
the last game off at 12-3.
hold on, wait, we'll get there. We'll get it. You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead. Jumping ahead.
Am I? Oh, sorry. I was muted for a second.
You're
Sorry, I
good.
was
You're
talking to
good.
someone.
So you had that, and then let's see if I can remember who exactly hit them. So Judd, I know Humphreys, and Austin Foley.
The back to back to back.
Yes, Humphreys hit
That
the
was,
last one.
It was Furnace. Furnace was the first
Will
one.
Furnace, Will Furnace, Judd Udemark, and Isaac Humphrey go back to back to back on three back to back pitches. And as the ball was leaving the bat, on the first one, the place went crazy. The second one, it went really crazy. And the third one, the foul netting, because I'm sitting right above first base, section 12. I was on TV after this, so if you were watching that game and you saw yours truly on TV, hello. But I was on TV, but the netting that was right in front of me was shaking. It was so loud. The people were jumping up and down. It was insane. It was unlike anything I've ever seen, and I've seen Swayze extremely loud. But this was one of the cooler moments I've ever gotten to experience.
Talking about a beer
So,
shower, though, people
and a
got a beer,
massive beer show.
threw it up, grabbed another one,
Didn't
threw
even
it
have
up, all
time to
within.
fill the next one.
Yeah.
The Natty Light was flowing, buddy.
Oh yeah,
I
for
wonder how many
sure.
beer sales were made this weekend because there was a lot of students out there. It was an insane environment. Ole Miss would then use Ryan Rodriguez that night for most of the game. Gunnar Dennis would start. Ryan would come in, and I believe to close it was Landon Waters, a good friend of mine. Landon got to close that one out. We didn't use any pitching, which was key because we had used a lot. Hunter Elliott went 115 pitches, 20 pitches against Georgia Tech in an insane outing. He was told them he was not getting pulled out of that game emphatically, um, and he finished the thing off. And it was one of the most incredible performances I've seen from him. And I was really, he really, if that was his last game as a starter, man, he went out on his sword. But Ole Miss would just pummel um, Murray State in that game six, I believe, 19 to 8, 20 to 8. It was a football score. I said at
It
the end
was
of the game,
19 to
Austin,
8, yeah.
yeah, Austin Simmons scored three touchdowns. They missed a couple 2 point conversions. It was it was a blowout, and Swayze was rocking, and Murray State had used a ton of pitching. Ole Miss had two, but Murray State had used a ton of pitching, and you thought, man, there's no way, because Murray State's really out of pitching. Who do they have left? And then you get to Game Seven last night. Murray Walker hooks on the mound, does a decent job in the first inning. You have some defensive miscues on a play there that was hit back to Walker. Nobody gets to first base. The runner stays on. And then a series of doubles where they, instead of throwing to second base, they throw home, don't get him, and then you're trailing a runner to second where he could have been at first. They score more runs. Things fall apart. Mason gets taken out. Riley Maddox gets brought in. Eventually, the score in the sixth inning is 12-3, and it looks sort of like all hope is lost.
I
Um,
turned the game off.
Jake had turned the people. Some people had left, and to those people, I say shame. But we'll get into why in a second. Um, I get not all of them. Some people have long drives back, and I understand it. It looked bleak. Ole Miss would score five, I believe, to get it to, or they would score, they would get it to 12
Yeah,
to
to
7,
8.
12 to 8. They would score five, and then the very next inning, the bottom of the seventh, I believe. And just a bunch of walks, and the place really started to come alive, and you're like, whoa, what's happening here? And then Mason Nichols would come in, strike out the side. Ole Miss gets up in the bottom of the eighth. They get two runners on. Braden Randall comes up the plate, who has not hit a home run all season. Hits a 3 run homer to put the Rebels in front 12-11, or excuse me, puts the Rebels down 12-11. And who comes in the game after pitching on Friday or pitching on Saturday? 120 pitches and all those strikeouts, but Hunter Elliott throwing up to
Mm-hmm.
94. He gets out and gets Ole Miss the bottom of the ninth. Um, and just a really good. I mean, in Swayze, this was in talk about. I thought that was the loudest reaction. This was the loudest I'd ever heard it. I mean, you should have seen the student section, the dugouts, the Hunter Elliott yelling as he comes off the mound, and everybody's. It
I
was
saw that, yeah.
insane. Um, so then Judd Udemark, and then also in that eighth inning, what really could have kept the momentum going. Judd Udemark leans into a pitch, or originally hit by the pitch. Because this guy had not been throwing strikes from Murray State. He leans into the pitch and then, or gets hit. They say he leaned into it, so you're down 0-1. Then he gets down 0-2, and there's basically that kind of stopped the momentum. There was no coming back from that. So Ole Miss is down one going in the bottom of the ninth. Um, Isaac Humphrey gets out, I believe, strikes out. Campbell Smithwick comes up and has an insane 14-15 pitch at bat, but ultimately strikes out looking, leading it to Hayden Federico. And Hayden hits a ball on the screws um, directly at the center fielder. Um, and this ball was hit really hard, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. The four seed Murray State goes on to win the Oxford Regional. Um, Jake, I'm going to let you take it, and then I have something to say I want to say about this Ole Miss team.
I think Murray State was a very. I don't think they were a 4 seed type of team. They've played
No,
us very hard for the last 2 years, I believe. They took us into extras 2 years ago, and beat us, walked it off, and then we took them into extras at home this year, earlier in the season, and we walked it off. So this team has, understands how we operate. We know how they play, and we know that they play us very hard. And it's
right.
just, I honestly, I like the way this team plays. They remind me a lot of Kentucky last year, where They just piece together hits. They're not trying to do too much. I mean, talking about hitting, this team, they weren't huge home run hitters, but they were just
No,
piecing together
they
single
didn't
after
hit one. I
single.
don't think they hit one all regional.
One home run.
No, they did not hit one home run.
They hit a home run on the first pitch against us in the first game. If you
Oh,
remember
yes,
that.
that's right. I think that's the only one.
Yeah, that might have been. And they were able to
Or they might
score,
have hit one. They hit one or other on Gunnar Dennis.
yeah. But this team, you know, they
Number
ran
10
the
for
bases,
them.
they put pressure
They
on us. We made a mistake on defense and,
a lot
threw the
of them.
ball home on singles so the runner got to second. They would score, they would take advantage of that and hit a single and score that run.
Number
So
10 won regional MVP, their center fielder. He has this insanely wide stance. He would choke up on the bat, and he would just push the ball to the six hole. He hit like 12 doubles. There was a time where Ole Miss couldn't get him out. He might have hit
he
like 500 the whole regional.
yeah, he hit like
400
three he was hitting 370, I think that was his average for the year.
going
And he
in.
had zero home runs, but he was just a doubles machine.
Somebody ought to sign that guy. So
Yeah,
like he's
I
going in the
mean,
transfer portal.
oh yeah. Their first two hitters, you're
Um,
talking about the lefty, right?
Number 10. Remember, he has super wide stance, choked up on the bat.
Yeah. So their top two hitters, their first guy, second guy. First guy was hitting like 350 with 19 home runs, and the second guy had zero home runs, but he was hitting like 378, just punching doubles everywhere. So I don't know. They were a really good hitting team. They really were.
Or I'm gonna have to kind of shorten this up a bit because my headphones are starting to die. Um, but so something I want to say about the Ole Miss team, and I've talked about my close personal relationship with them. Um, the last 3 years, I've been very blessed to be a part of this program and get to experience a lot of things. Excuse me. This team was really something special. And hats off to Murray State. They played a great regional. This team is dangerous. I think they could win the entire like not win the whole thing, but they can go to Omaha. They can beat Duke.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Um, but the amount of fight this team showed is well. Hold on. We're gonna pause this for a second. I'm still talking, Jake. Don't say anything. So this is technical difficulties. We're just going to. How do I get back to Zoom? Why is it acting like this? Okay. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties, and we're gonna pause the recording right here. All right, guys. Sorry about that live podcast recording. Headphones died. We'll just hopefully there's no reverb coming through when Jake talks back. If there is, we'll find ways to clear it up.
I'll just
Okay.
not talk the rest of the time.
So, like I was saying, been very blessed to be a part of this team. Um, and last night comes to an end, but this team did not quit all year. The last 2 years, and I can't get into a lot of it, well documented and drama and things of that nature. This was a really put together team, a really well put together team. Not just talking about baseball, people. This team gelled. They wanted to play for each other, and they never quit all season. Um, they were consummate professionals. Guys like Luke Chang, who really showed out in the field. Um, what a wonderful human being he is. Um, just behind the scenes, personally.
Was he a senior?
Nicest. Sorry,
Is he a senior?
yeah, he's a fifth year senior. Um,
So yeah, so he's on his way out.
he is, but the man. Let me say this about Luke Chang. Luke Chang, the Sunday after the Auburn series, um, Luke stopped me and said some. We said some words, and it was really very very kind of him. I'll leave those in private between he and I. Luke, for those who don't know, is married. Um, his mother, they're from Maryland. His wife is a track athlete, so they're not at every game, but he constantly has a smile on his face. Is the one the players all love the most. He is very talkative, very supportive on the field, a tremendous leader. He came in and led this team with a ton of conviction. Um, is one that the guys all want to be around. He is a tremendous baseball player, but even better human being. He comes up with some Christian, walk up music, some praise music, if you will, worship music. That's really nice. Very humble young man. And he, whether baseball's in his future or not, don't think it is, but he's going to be very rich. And I'm not talking about money. He's going to be very rich in what he does with his life, in his life with his wife, and if they decide to have children or not, in his family. I cannot say enough nice things about Luke Chang. That man is going to do something. The good Lord has blessed him tremendously, and he has done nothing but spread that back. What a tremendous, tremendous person Luke Chang is, and I cannot say enough about him. And it's guys like him and guys I rolled with for the last 3 years, like Mason Nichols, who is a fifth year senior. He will also be very rich, more so in personality than money, but he probably will have a lot of money too because he graduated with a 4.0 GPA in biomechanical sciences. He was the top of his class, not just an athlete, top of his class, period. Um, with a 4.0,
Not bad.
he pitched more innings than any pitcher on the staff in the last 4 years. He had the most innings of anybody combined, maybe in the last 5 years or something like that. He was constantly there for me personally, as one of my good friends. We ate lunch together numerous times. Um, Before I was Catholic, he took me to church in Oxford at Pine Lake. His girlfriend Ella, and they've been together for quite a while now. She's a tremendous person. Um, he was a again part of that 22 team, the national championship team. A really good baseball player, really good bullpen guy for us,
Was
and
he
a
a
really good
freshman?
story. Huh?
Was he a freshman on that team?
Correct.
Yeah.
Um, so so he so he was on that team, won a national championship. Was a really good bullpen piece, and then a really good starter for us later in the line. Faced a lot of adversity, but he always stayed positive and stayed in his faith. A guy who doesn't get enough credit. He was almost through and through. He and I share a mutual friend. One that Jake knows, who's in Jake's fraternity. They grew up together, went to Jackson Prep together, and everything I hear about him, this guy does not. Jake, we'll give him a shout out. Jake Vineyard, if you're listening, what's up, bud? Um, but Jake is not the biggest fan of baseball. But when it came to Mason Nichols, he adored Mason, and everybody that knew Mason adored Mason, and still does. He's not dead. He just quit playing baseball. Um, but he's but last night that was really hard saying goodbye to him. I He had been there for me for through everything. It's gonna be really hard losing him. But I know he's gonna have success in whatever he does. And I can't mention everybody. I'll just mention a couple others briefly before I get to this last one. Luke Hill, who's probably maybe coming back next year. I have a good feeling. I told him thank you for this season. I told every guy thank you
Will he get
because
drafted though? You think in a late round?
I think he's going to come back next year. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Now's not necessarily the time. Not by the way, not shaming you, Jake, at all. We're just
No, it's all good.
not, but people are thinking, man, he's being mean to Jake. No, I'm just we'll get to that when the time comes. Again, we didn't discuss any of this beforehand. That's on me. Um, but Luke, when all the drama was happening, he was convincing us to stay. Luke is a consummate. I mean, he was a leader. Even though he struggled at times at the plate, he constantly, he constantly backed up everything he said. He was a great leader. The shades I have that you saw me wearing on my head at that game, Luke gave to me. Luke is a great guy, full of energy. For all the things that were said about him previously, most of them are not. All of them are not true. At least the negative ones. Luke's a great man. His father's a great man. Rich. And he deserves a lot of credit for this team and keeping this team together. Judd Utermark, another one of those who deserves a lot of credit. Will Furness deserves a ton of credit for his improvement this year. He has done a tremendous job. The last one I want to get to, um, Hunter Elliott. So, sorry, my dad's yelling in the living room. So, Hunter Elliott. Um, we could get into the baseball stuff. I mean, that's well documented. He could be a first rounder. Maybe not this year, but you give him an additional year. But I mean, he's a first round talent easily. Um, you can talk about all the baseball numbers and all that stuff, but it pales in comparison to the person that Hunter Elliott is. Um, because Hunter, Tupelo High School, Tupelo guy, I'm gonna not stay too long in the story, but the whole reason I've started going to Ole Miss baseball practices 3 years ago, my freshman year, was because I met Hunter and a few of the other guys, Kemp Alderman, Calvin Harris. But I met them at Meet the Rebels and we started talking because I was from Nettleton. Hunter had played against guys in travel ball that I knew that were older than me. Hunter and I start talking. And then one day, I get the bright idea. And I'll give him credit. Jake Vineyard also helped me out with this. He's like, hey, if you want to really get in with the team, why don't you just go down there? And so one day at about 2 o'clock, I rolled down, and it's Hunter Elliott, Jack Doherty, who was on that 22 team, no longer there, and a couple other guys. They were all sitting out there, and I rolled down wearing a red puffer coat and a cowboy hat and all that. And I was just this random kid. The gate was open. This random kid had showed up, and Hunter and I start talking because he remembered me from the night before, and he invites me back out to inter squads the next day. And then we kept coming the day after that. And then I met Josh Mallitz and Xavier Rivas, and then got close with that team. Then did the year after that did the Omaha Challenge, and Hunter was on my team. I text Hunter. We talk all, we don't talk often, but whenever I need something or I want to talk to him, he's there. He was even through his issues with Tommy John surgery and those being well documented, it was really hard for him, but he kept a smile on his face. And he admitted at times he struggled with being a leader and being the guy, but he was always there. Um, and like when he was hurt, he would sit over in the corner by the right field foul pole, which is where I always sit, and throw. He would teach me how to throw certain things. So I would throw a bullpen with Hunter. Um, and like I said, I don't know if Hunter's done or not. Don't take this as, oh, Hunter's leaving. I don't know what the future holds for Hunter Elliott. Um, he could come back next year. I think that could be viable, and he could go try his hand at the draft and probably be very successful in that. Whatever it is, God's got him. But getting to hug him last night, I know how bad he wanted it, and that's what really hurt for me. This is more than just losing a baseball game. Um, it's not getting to be around the same group of guys next year because guys will leave, and yes, some of them will be there, but this group right here won't be there. And I realized I was a part of something very special. Um, and it's it's unfortunate that it has to come to an end, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. Absolutely nothing. This Murray State team is very good. Um, and give them all the credit in the world. Former Ole Miss pitcher Matt Parento, who was also a friend of mine, who transferred to Indiana State twice and then went to Murray State. He gave me a hug the Friday of that regional. Hey, you remember me? And I'm like, of course I remember you, Matt. And I told them last night, I hope you go win the whole damn thing. And I hope they do. Ole Miss, this team fought all year, and it was just an honor and a privilege to be a part of it. And I want to thank, real quick, Coach Mike Bianco for allowing me yet again to probably annoy him sometimes, but be around the team. And again, to a brand new pitching coach and person who does not get enough credit, and Joel Mangrum for how he helped this pitching staff not only on the field with pitching and on the field stuff, but how he helped maintain them off the field, mental health stuff wise. It's really hard to be a pitcher. Riley Maddox documented that on the season how much he's helped, how much Joel had helped him. Where I sit next to all the coaches' wives. I sit next to Andrea Mangrum, Cami Bianco. I want to thank them publicly. Literally going and getting waters for me, going and getting food for me, helping me do stuff I couldn't have done all year without them. I love you to death. Um, Thank you. Like I said, thank you, Coach Mangrum, for you probably didn't have the time, but you sat down with me, and if I had questions, you would answer them. And like I said, you helped my friends who, in their darkest hours, some of them really needed your help. Braden Jones had a really hard year, and Joel really helped him. So again, I want to say it publicly. I don't know if they're going to listen to this or not, but I'll send it around. But tell them thank you, and that's really all I have to say on that. And thank you, like I said, thank you, Coach Panko, thank you, Coach Mangrum, and thank you, Coach Laugh as usual. I love you, Laugh. We hopefully we can have Laugh on the show someday. But thank you to all those guys. No, what a year it's been. This is definitely a step in the right direction for Ole Miss baseball, and I'm just very privileged that I was able to be a part of it. Yeah. Well, I think we can. Yep. But I mean, there's that. So Ole Miss falls there, Murray State. And again, I'm a little bit of a lighter tone. Again, it's not the end for some of these guys. I'll be around them next year. Just the same group of guys won't be there, and I'm not saying that Hunter's leaving or whoever. Don't use this to speculate. I don't know. So we'll just leave it at that. But this Murray State team, they congratulations to them. I seriously hope they win the whole thing. Wow, they're going to be a headache for somebody. They're going to be an absolute headache. I mean, they don't quit. Talk about this team. They annoy the absolute crap out of you. They made so many plays on defense as well as how much they produce in the offensive level. They're going to find ways to beat teams. They're going to be really hard out. So good luck to them. But yeah, I think Ole Miss is headed in the right direction and all that in the future. But right now, we're just going to leave it to talking about the regionals. I'll adjust. So, Jake, why don't you, real quick, let's run through the super regional bracket. Can you get it in front of you? If you're not, I got it. Can you see
Yeah,
me?
I have it right here. Yep.
All right. So, while I adjust in the seat here, Jake is going to run down what super regionals are.
So we got the Louisville Super Regional, which is going to be Miami versus Louisville, two ACC teams, right? They're both ACC.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you got the Los Angeles Regional, which is UCLA versus UTSA. Which again, I don't know anything about UTSA. I know that they're a good enough team to beat Texas, so I think that'll be a good one. You got Florida State versus Oregon State. At in the it's the Corvallis Super Regional, so in Oregon. Um, and then you got the Durham Super Regional, which sounds weird to say, but it's in Duke. It's Duke versus Murray State. Then you got the Chapel Hill Regional, UNC versus Arizona. The Baton Rouge Regional, so LSU versus West Virginia. The Auburn Regional, Auburn versus Coastal Carolina, and then the Fayetteville Super Regional, which is Arkansas versus Tennessee.
All right. So, you want to predict these one by one?
Yeah, so I believe it's set up here, like teams on the left and the right. So, yeah, okay. So let's go with Louisville first. I haven't watched a ton of ACC, but I think Louisville, they're at home, and I think they're the better team over Miami. They beat a really good Vanderbilt team. I think they were highly ranked at the beginning of the year. I'm taking Louisville in this one.
I'm also taking Louisville. Not for any of those reasons necessarily, because as we learned, I don't think any of that matters. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm taking Louisville.
yep. Los Angeles Regional. Um, you know, I'm
I'm,
gonna go UTSA here. Again, I don't know much about either team, but I think UTSA is they're obviously good enough to beat a two second in the country ranked Texas team. I think they can beat anyone at that point. Maybe not Arkansas, but I'm taking
uh,
UTSA.
I'm also going to take. I know we're agreeing on a bunch. Not for good pod. I take this UTSA team. They're really hot. They played really good during the season, and they're playing their best baseball at the right time. They're going to be have a really good offense. I think they're going to win this thing.
Yep. Let's see. Corvallis. I know they're in Oregon. I know Oregon State's a good team, but I really am high on Florida State.
I am
Um,
too.
they've been
Um,
very good. I have to go with Florida State here.
I
I've
do
been watching a
too.
lot of Florida State baseball, so
I do too. Oregon State hasn't played anybody with that independent schedule. Um, I mean, I get they win the regional, but this Florida State team is really good. That was a somewhat hard regional for them. Mississippi State was a tough draw. Northeastern, you could argue, was a tough draw. But they handled it. And this Florida State team was good. I get it's in Corvallis, but this Florida State team could be a finalist for the College World Series. I'm taking Florida State here. And then a really interesting Chapel Hill Super Regional. You want to jump to that one?
Yeah, Chapel. I mean, I'm taking North Carolina. You know how high I am on North Carolina. I think that they have a chance to win it all. So I'm taking North Carolina there. No brainer.
I'm also taking North Carolina there. I think they could also win it all. This is, again, just sounds really redundant, but maybe we'll disagree somewhere. Um, Coastal and Auburn Super. Watch out. This is going to be interesting. Going to be very close. It's going to go to a game three.
Yeah, I, I don't. I haven't watched a lot of Coastal Carolinas.
No. Um,
Um, well, all right, what is it?
I gotta go with Auburn just because I know, I've watched more SEC baseball. That's definitely more coming from a biased perspective. I
Right.
know Coastal Carolina beat up Clemson earlier in the year, but a lot of teams have beat up Clemson, so
Yeah, sure.
taking Auburn.
I'm going to take Auburn there, but it's going to be really close. I would not be surprised if Coastal actually gets there, but this Auburn team's probably mm, second, maybe best SEC team. Some would argue. So I'm
Yeah.
going to take the I'm going to take War Eagle and Butch Thompson, the Auburn Tigers. So I think going from there, we've already treated Los Angeles. Baton Rouge, the Red Stick will be bumping. Give me LSU.
Oh yeah, LSU all day. I think they got an easy.
West Virginia's hot. Sure, I understand. LSU.
Yeah.
We'll say Fayetteville for last. The Durham Super Regional, Murray State and Duke. Two
Murray State.
real,
Murray State.
really.
I really think so. I think they're making it to Omaha. I don't think they're making it far in Omaha, but I do think they win the Super Regional.
I also agree, Murray. I think it's going to be really offensive, really competitive. Get ready for 6 hour games like the ones we had in Oxford, which one of my boys is kind of going. But yeah, so Murray State and Duke, and I do think it will be the longest regional, both in time per game. If that was some sort of money line, I would take that.
Yeah.
Over under 4 hours each game, I'm taking the over. Like
Mhm.
or 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I'm taking the over.
Yep. All right, then we got Fayetteville.
Tennessee and the Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville for all the money to go to Omaha. Drum roll, please.
I'm
Give
taking
me
Arkansas.
the Arkansas Razor. Whoa! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Time out. Pause. Repeat what you just said.
I'm taking Arkansas.
Scoot in closer.
I'm taking Arkansas. They're going to Omaha.
Boys, he went and get Tennessee. Jake, are you okay?
I,
Do I need to call an
I'm not.
ambulance?
I'm not holding any bias here.
Or
I
blink
said it before.
twice if you're
Arkansas is
being held hostage.
the best team in the country.
Blink twice if you're being held hostage. Jake, nobody's on the camp. Like
No bias here.
you
Arkansas
are
is
being
the best team in the
recorded
country.
on
They're winning it
video.
all as long as they don't choke. That's my final take.
Oh my gosh.
It's my final
Hell
take.
is frozen over. Jake Keating is taking the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I am too, but I'm worried about your health, Jake. I think we need to have a conversation when this call ends.
Sure, we can.
He might be in bad health, Jake. If it's the end, let me know, buddy. Is it
Yeah.
bad?
I told you, listen, I saw some holes in Tennessee's game recently. I still think they're a very strong team, and if they were literally paired up with anyone but Arkansas, maybe, North Carolina, like again, I'm very high in North Carolina too. But I don't know. I see Arkansas beating everyone. How about this though? We'll talk about the super regionals that I believe are paired up because it's a 4-4 like pool, and then the winner of each pool plays each other in the finals, right? I believe that's the uh
Correct.
yeah. So from what I can tell from this, it looks like the Louisville regional I'll just say the ones that are paired up: Louisville, Los Angeles, Corvallis, and Durham. So that's you know those. Those are all paired up. And then you got this. This is kind of crazy to me. Chapel Hill, Baton Rouge, Auburn, and Fayetteville are all in one pool.
That is so that would mean that the winner of those plays that are in Omaha, I believe.
No, yeah, so the winner, so what would happen would be say, okay, let's just say Louisville, UCLA, Florida State, and Murray State all win. So then Louisville would play UCLA and Florida State would play um, Murray State. And then they would, the winner of that, so let's say Florida State, because I believe they're the best team in that, um, in that bracket, they would play the winner of the bracket that would include North Carolina, LSU, Auburn, and Arkansas. Talking about a stacked bracket, L North Carolina, LSU, Auburn, and that's 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, that's a stacked bracket.
That is insane.
So wait, that means three SEC teams on one side of the bracket.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. This that's what it looks like this bracket thing is showing.
That would, oh man, that'd be really bad for the SEC. That means
Yeah.
one only comes out on that
But
side.
again, Arkansas, I don't know. But who knows if they have to go up against, UNC, Auburn, LSU, like this could be really tough. They have a really tough road. Whereas a team like this other bracket, like Murray State has a very good chance to make it all the way. They really do.
Yeah.
I think Florida State's making it out of that one. I think if I had to predict the finals, I would predict Florida State versus Arkansas. That would be my final prediction. What's your final prediction?
Um, I will take um as far as like who wins it.
Yeah, who wins it all?
You know what? Why don't we say that for the actual thing? But it, but if we were to say just right now, I think Arkansas wins it.
Yeah. But I guess they haven't even made it past and they have the hardest super regional. So,
That's not my official prediction, by the way. This has to. We will make our official predictions next week. On we may have a special guest on that episode too, so we'll let you know.
yep.
But I don't really. There's some other MLB news, but I don't think MLB's that we are in college baseball mode right now.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll get into that. I don't know, sometime soon. Um, I have not eaten lunch yet, and there's a pizza sitting right next to me,
100.
like fully uneaten.
There you
And I've got homework to do. Yeah, I'm taking summer classes.
go.
Boo. So you know what? It's been a good episode. Yep. So we got super regional action to look forward to. Jake, are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. When is that? Is that next weekend?
This weekend, yes.
This weekend? Yeah. Cool. Starting Friday?
Yes.
Cool.
So we'll have that, and more. Be sure you stay up to date. Well, I'll let Jake. We'll stay up to date on all of our social medias, and where can you find those, Jacob?
X and Instagram, picked off media. Make it
And on YouTube as
and
well,
on YouTube now.
where you
Yeah.
can
I
see
keep
us.
forgetting.
These beautiful faces. More so Jake's, not mine. I'm ugly, but whatever. Make a comment, Jake. Make the thing funny. Jeez.
You stunned me. You stunned me. I'm chill.
I'm joking. I'm joking all around. We're all just having fun here. On the Picked Off podcast, and be sure to if you want to go back and listen to these episodes on Spotify and Apple, our Apple audience is increasing.
There we
Um,
go.
so if you want to go back and listen to those, you can do that. You know where to find those. Leave a 5-star review, 5-star rating, review. Share it with your friends. We're also on Facebook at Picked Off Media. That's important to note too. Now on Facebook, still working that out. Um, so yeah, we'll have all that. We'll have more episodes next week and maybe some follow up content. I don't know. We're really busy, but we'll see. It's super regional time. We're one step closer to Omaha, and with that, for Jake Keating, I am Braden Neal. We will see you next time. Bye bye.